Hi everyone, I'm Nika, and today I will present you basically campaign aid, public campaign materials based on survey results that CRRC conducted, commissioned by UN Women. So before I show you, I want to say a few words. Georgian women's role in Georgian economy and household is fascinating research topic for me as a researcher, because Georgians know this, that during crises and during hardships, they really stepped up and provided for their families. They literally went far and behind to provide for them, for their loved ones. And I think that they are strong people. And what I wanted to show you and the audience of this campaign, of course, is a public, general wide public, to increase pressure for certain government or non-governmental entities to help women entrepreneurs. Yeah, I want to convey a message that says that these women, even without any help, without a few less help than they could have, without any advantages that Georgian men might have in business, they achieved so much. They achieved a lot. So I want to imagine what they could achieve if we help. What if we help them, like give them lower interest rates, like give them training materials that they actually need and they wanted, and the CRRC survey showed this. What if we, government allocated more money, or international donors allocated more money to support these entrepreneurs? And yeah, I want to, yeah, this is it. Basically, I have a 1-minute video, so I have few time, short time to present. To talk more, but again, this is a fascinating topic, and I think it is research, but I think more research is always better. So yeah, this is a video, and this is short video, and I will also show 2 posters, which is a last-minute edition. So, but idea is this, that these stock images, I want to replace it with the real women entrepreneurs from Georgia, so that people can have real examples around them. So yeah, I forget to mention before the video, but this is it, that those should be real women entrepreneurs in Georgia. So this is one campaign poster, and this is another, and I hope you get the idea what I wanted to achieve with this. Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Hello, I'm Anna, and hello. First of all, I want to thank all of you for these opportunities that you give us and all the work you've done, and congratulations for this amazing 3 days. And to be honest, I'm quite new in all of that, and I really appreciate it to be here now. Now I will try to represent my work to you and review my project. When I started to think about how I could give all of this information to the people, the first thing that popped in my mind and needed to be answered was how, as a student, as a young female or young human, would like to get all of this information. And the first thing that popped into my mind, to be honest, very quite soon, was a quiz, because I love quizzes. Who doesn't, right? And so I made the quiz, and my target audience in this case were the young people like me who are just trying to absorb all of the information the world is giving us, and who try to figure out what is that interests us in this world in the future. And I think that the survey is about the topic that all of us should be interested in. So mostly, I believe that us, the young people, the people of future, can really change, really make the big change. So I wanted to get attention for the people like me. So the quiz was a good idea, and now I will try to show you some of that. I will not read all of these questions to you, but first of all, I just really wanted to connect with my respondents. I wanted to be together, like not me here and them there. I just wanted to be connected. I wanted the quiz to be friendly, casual. So this first question is about presenting themselves. And then I'm addressing them with the name they are giving me. Okay, and yes, I will just get through it, and I will not read to you the questions. All of the questions and answers are from data that you gave to us. Yes, and within the questions there are some motivatory quotes about the women entrepreneurs and successful women from all around the world, and little motivation can never hurt anyone. There is an option that you will choose, the respondent will choose, and each one has a score. I just wanted to tell you something about. Oh, yes. Now there is one question that I thought as a new start of the new opportunity. I'm asking about the immigration problem, because you can see why. And it is the idea that I have had an idea that the end of this survey, the conclusions of the survey and of it can be a really part of something bigger and something future survey. I mean, that can be a start for anything in the future, if we wanted to. And then I thought that if I had a company, if I had a startup, I would like to get my respondents' feedbacks. So I just asked them to rate us with these lighting bulbs, and that's quite it. That's quite it, because I just wanted it to be simple. I just wanted it to be light, casual, friendly, and it is that. It is simple, but it works. It increases the awareness in the people. It gets the people's attention. It will get mine. I know that. I love quizzes. I'm making them. I'm participating in them, and I just think that it is a great way to get the people's attention and increase the awareness of the subject that is really important in our society, because Georgia needs women entrepreneurs. Georgia needs the people who are interested in such cases, that we can make a change in the future. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Anna, for this very nice idea. It's very innovative. Personally, I also like taking sometimes quiz, but at the same time, I should be inspired before I fill in the quiz. Why should I do it? So my question will be first, why should someone fill in this quiz? I did not see the this motivational part or the benefit from the user side. Why should I, as a user, fill in this quiz? And also, if it happens and I fill in this quiz, what will I get? And also the third, but I think that's also important and interesting to hear from you, why you decided to focus on these questions, and what was the basically the goal to highlight. I mean, I like the idea of the quiz again, but I could not see what is the gain, what is the impact, and why should someone be interested to fill in this quiz? And would love to hear from you. Thank you.
Yes, I can see what are you talking about, and that could be some introduction. I can see that now, and I don't know. I just thought that this quiz would just get the people's attention with just quote with title. I don't know. I just didn't think about, to be honest, about such things. And as for the questions, I just highlighted them. I don't know. Its main is maybe an inappropriate word, but the questions is about most of the data, most of the data. I don't know. I just really thought that it would highlight the main points. At some points, I don't think that it is whole as everything is included, but it highlights the main points. And if the people are interested, there is a respondents can email us. They can write us their emails, and we would like to send them additional information. It is included in the quiz.
But the idea of the quiz apparently is to kind of, as a user, I should get feedback, whether it is some information about which will be based on my responses, or I don't know, some additional information or whatever. I understand the research itself is quite broad. It includes lots of areas. And it's obviously difficult to include all of them in, but at the same time, I could not see the structure, and I could not see what was the logic when we are including these questions. And also, as a user, I can't clearly understand what will I get. And if I respond these answers, who will tell me whether it was true or false?
Actually, every answer is scored, and me as a maker, I can have your responses. I can see what the score you had, and by leaving the email, I just chose not to give the responses and the answers and scores right away, because if I had a company, then by sending the scores, I would get the opportunity to send them the additional information, additional links about my company or the works, and that is why I chose to do that.
Okay, short notice and one question. I guess the goal of this quiz is to collect data for you, and after that you can use it for your interest, but very important, what people should motivate to give to you any information about them, and it's very important how you will announce this. And my question, what result? Did you imagine any result after this quiz, and what's the result?
What the result of my quiz?
Yeah, for you and your team.
I will get the information about the people's awarenesses of the subject. I will get the idea of what they think they know about the community, about Georgian people, and then the people will get the score, and they know whatever they think it is right or not.
Mm-hmm. Okay, thanks.
Thank you, Anna. I'm just wondering, so if this is a part of campaign, so one of the purposes is to raise the awareness, am I right?
Yes.
By this quiz, but as a consumer, not a consumer, but the reader of this quiz, or reader of the quiz, I didn't get any answer, like was my answer correct or not? And I think like if you're going to develop this project, it's great to have the right answer and maybe some figures on these answers, because I felt myself a little bit, not a little bit disappointed because I didn't get any correct answers.
I can see that, but I can get them those answers. You mean the right away?
Yes, right away, because sometimes, for example, when I came to the 14th question, I didn't want to write my email because sometimes it could stop people from this.
Oh, yes, that can be made, yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Hello, everybody. Good evening. So my today's presentation is about Expo dataset. It's about women's entrepreneurs from 14 different countries, including Central Asia, South Caucasus, and East European countries. So first of all, it should be mentioned that the data visualization and charts don't look perfect, but I think the meaning behind this data is more important in this case. So first of all, what I'm going to show you is the distribution of women entrepreneurs by rural and urban settlement types. So why I'm showing this? Because my further slides and further research is all about comparing the women entrepreneurs and their businesses in terms of settlement types and what's the difference in terms of their challenges, needs, and so we can see that the 1/3, the 30% is located in the rural area. So I think it's a very high number, so it's considerable amount in my opinion. So the question that was asked for the survey participants was that if they felt that they were vulnerable. So it seems that in rural areas, the women entrepreneurs are more likely to feel vulnerable, and it's statistically different. It's not just only percentage, the difference is almost like 12 percentage point, and I think it's very important to see how they feel and what's the difference between the rural and urban settlement type business owners. So the same we can say about their willingness to expand their businesses. So we can see that only 55% of rural participants think that they will expand their businesses in different locations, while the same indicator is 81% in urban areas. So they are more willing to just be open about new opportunities. So we don't know the exact reason what's the difference, what the reason of this difference, but we can see that they feel completely different. I think it's something that should be mentioned and emphasized. So I think, so when I was doing this presentation, I thought that whether I could find the answer for that. So maybe that's the answer, but just roughly, of course. But as we can see in rural areas, only like half of the women entrepreneurs own at least 51% of the share of this business, while the same indicator is much higher than 70%. So maybe they feel more free to do what they want from their businesses. Like these people, 70% shares the more than 50% of the share of the businesses, so they feel more free to control their businesses. Maybe that's the reason. So as I mentioned, there were 14 countries. So I tried to like split between groups and saw whether the post-Soviet countries and other countries were different in these about these indicators. So as you can see, the post-Soviet countries are more likely to have businesses in the rural areas. So as we mentioned, the rural areas, people are less willing to expand their businesses, more vulnerable. So it somehow shows that how the one step behind the Soviet countries are in terms of the business development and business management. You know, it's not, of course, representative, but we can just briefly summarize that. And the same works with the business expansions, and the same differences are shown between Soviet countries and other countries. That one more time indicates that in post-Soviet countries are, of course, post-Soviet countries are less developed, and we have a slightly different and bad situation in here. So that's, I think, what I was trying to say with this presentation. And that's in this limited amount of time, that's what I find from this data set and what I was trying to explore. Thank you very much.
So if I understand correctly, you just have some charts on the slides. It's more like a PowerPoint presentation rather than a storytelling. Like, did you try to turn these random numbers into a story with its own like flow, like introduction and things like that? Or like, I didn't really get like, what is this product that we are looking at? Like, how are we supposed to use it?
Yes, the meaning is that we can use in this situation. I said that the visual side is not the powerful side.
So the question is, what work have you done? Because these are the numbers from the survey, right?
Yes.
And you are participating as a contestant.
Mm-hmm.
So what is the work that you are showing us now? Like selection of these data points, or the way you have displayed it, or what is that we have to assess now?
Yes, I think it's all about findings, I guess. We can see, but I created a new variable that shows the difference between post-Soviet and other countries, and these findings that we can further research, for example, explore why is that difference. We don't know the exact answer for that. So the why is different between the rural and urban areas, and we can further explore the women entrepreneurs' needs and challenges, and that's the most important part, to my opinion.
Okay, so this was not given in this survey, and you looked at these questions on your own.
Yeah,
and then
exactly.
What could be the next steps for your project? Like, how could you turn these findings into stories, if you have thought about that?
That's what I mean exactly. So we had two questions about the vulnerability and business expansion, and the woman's opinion about that. So we don't know what's the reason behind it. Why don't they trying to expand their businesses? Why do they feel vulnerable? So the further researches that we can make will clear what's the reason behind that, and that will just expand our knowledge to help the women entrepreneurs to develop their businesses.
That's just a clarification question. You had a demography of like on one of the slides you have mentioned like the share of women who own at least 51% of shares in their businesses. Yeah, the pie chart.
Yeah, exactly.
This one. So maybe it's kind of misunderstanding because the data we have is only from women who own the business.
Yeah, sure.
Yeah, so it means that they basically own at least 51% of shares of their registered business.
Yes.
And what is this 53.3%? I can't clearly understand.
So they own less than 51%.
So if they have less than 51%, okay, but, okay, I get it, okay, thank you.
So that's what the data set was telling me, so.
I just want to make a comment for the jury and for the audience. There were two data sets that we gave to the contest participants, and we encouraged people not to work on only one data set, which was presented with the analysis, with several reports, with findings, etc. And this was the data set that was not representative. It was only a data set, and some of the questions in the questionnaire were even not included in the data set. So what I want to say that these were not equal conditions for people who worked on the web assessment data and for the expo data. Yeah, that's something to bear in mind also. We have two presentations on the Expo 2022 data, and all the rest are about the web assessment. The first two were about the web assessment.
Thank you because I was a bit confused. So, I mean, it's a good explanation that actually the different contenders, they work on different data sets, right? Each of them, how many series of data sets you have provided them with? Each contestant have its own, their own data set?
No, there were just two data sets,
okay,
and they could choose.
Okay.
But in order for everyone not to choose the data set which came with a full package of analysis, we encouraged people to choose this data set, which was just raw data.
Okay, but from what I understood, have you added any data? You said that you have done some research.
No, not the data, but I created a new variable in this case to to make the post-Soviet in other countries, like they created a new variable.
Based on the data set you have received?
Based on the data set, that there was not added any additional data, of course.
Okay, so this is your variable?
Yes, that's my variable.
Okay, I didn't get that one. And the other contenders that we will have?
We will have one more contender who had worked on this data, okay, and all the rest will be on the web. But the bad part about people who worked on this data is that they did not have any findings, any analysis, just the data set. And it was from 14 countries, 14 very different countries. And I think one of the good things that Miller did was this grouping of countries into post-Soviet and Soviet. We generally encouraged grouping them into regions, but it was also difficult because these countries did not represent regions exhaustively. So it was also a challenge. Yeah, just to...
very few data in some countries, for example. So I prefer to have more broad groups about that.
Gamarjova, good evening. Thank you for having us here today and also in Tbilisi. It's our first time for some of us. So we picked challenges of women in Georgia in pursuit of entrepreneurship as our main topic. And we decided to create an infographic which would be aimed at social media users as well as maybe website visitors, and perhaps non-governmental organizations, as well as some government entities or financial institutions who could contribute to the development of entrepreneurship in Georgia, of female entrepreneurship in Georgia. I would pass a word to Fuad.
Hello everyone again. As you can see from our design is just like a pathway. The philosophy was this, everyone when they started their own business, especially the female entrepreneurship, they are struggling with some key problems. We make an overall like money and financial limitations, the social responsibilities, and the other, which is the focused on the patriarchic systems, and the educational and the lack of accesses of the resources and the educational system. And as you can see, it's like a pathway we have to go through from each way in order to obtain a sustained and stable workspace. I want to focus on the first one, is the financial instability. Because as you can see from the 74% of the loan, survey attendants decided that the loan prices are the amount of the loan are very high, and that's why they couldn't afford for this. And there's 31% of the female couldn't access the because they need co-signer or something like they could do before this. And for social responsibility, as we are living in a patriarchal system, and the females are working unemployed, like they are doing some stuff they didn't earn money for. For example, 22% of the females are struggling because they need to take care of their elderly people, or 65% of the females have children under the 18, and they have to take care of also this, and also despite of this they have to focus on their business development. That's why it's somehow very struggling for them. And for educational part, I want to...
Sorry, I just want to zoom in.
Okay, thank you.
Just also to mention, since we had only a very limited number of hours to create an infographic, this is obviously not a final product, and there would be design work and perhaps rewriting, rewording of the phrases that we used, but also we would like to focus on the educational background of the female entrepreneurs in Georgia. 96% of the women that were surveyed, they said that they do not belong to any kind of organizations that support female entrepreneurs. So, perhaps communities or Chamber of Commerces, the society is basically that could help them and support them in the times of difficulties. So I know we are probably running over time, so I will wrap it up. Just to finish this infographic, we wanted to ask a question: how can we help these women to achieve their goals? So perhaps it's part of the society. It's a, how to say, it's a problem not only for the female entrepreneurs, but also for the society, because women, they are not only mothers and friends or sisters, they're also those who contribute to the society the most. So, and what we should note, that despite these inherited limitations and challenges, women still strive to persevere and achieve and develop their businesses. So thank you for having us.
Hello guys, thank you. Tell please, I see gameplay poster, yeah? Yes. And do you have logic of that kind of stage with these numbers? So as we know, in a game we have difficulties, yeah? Is it a root of difficulties for women when they try to start their business?
This is what Fuad was actually trying to explain in the beginning, because he thought, as a designer, he thought of this, root that one of maybe, again, I don't remember the exact statistics, but one of these women will face one of these issues for sure on her way to become a successful entrepreneur. So it might be either the financial challenge, or it might be the educational challenge, but for sure one of these challenges will be met by each of these women. So
Okay.
that's why it's in the form of the pass. Again, this is not the final design. We will improve it.
I see you have logic.
Yeah.
Just
Thank
a
you.
question.
Thank you.
Thanks so much.
I also had a question, if I may. As you know, like research research is quite comprehensive, right? And I understand you included as many challenges as possible, but it still excludes some of them. If we are going to describe, do you think that we need to put through all the challenges in one poster while we're excluding some of them in that case? Or maybe it's better to focus on one challenge and describe the more specific sub-conditions, which is like magnifies this challenge. My question is like, if I look at this poster, I can tell you some of the challenges which is included in the report and which is highlighted as one of the significant challenges, but it's not on the poster. How do you come up with these like highlights from the report, and why some of them, which is also very important, is not here? And what's the aim of this poster? Who is the target, or what someone should come up from this poster? That's my main question.
Thank you. It's a good question. I know we did not include all of the challenges. We kind of summarized and took out the three most common ones that we wanted to focus on. Again, this is not a finished work, and as we will have more time to develop and work with you, with the mentors, we can assess and include additional items. This, just in our understanding, this three topics, let's say.
That's what I'm asking. Like the challenge, the aim of this challenge was to. It's not just visualize the findings, right? It's important to find the links and come up with some kind of story behind the challenge or the condition described in the report. So we are expecting this concept rather than the visualization of the percentage, which is also included in the report.
The idea behind was that we are taking an ordinary woman here in Georgia who is new to the world of entrepreneurship, and she wants to start a business, and she has to focus on these three things first. She needs to access the financial resources. She needs to think how she can handle her family if she has it, because we have seen that quite a majority of the women, they actually have families and they have children to take care of. And then besides that, she needs to think, do I have, as a woman, do I have enough educational background or enough support in the community in the form of chambers of commerces and entrepreneur associations to start this business? So I think this is the first three thoughts that an ordinary woman in Georgia would ask herself. That's why we picked these three, if that answers your question.
May I have small reflection? Thank you for your work and presentation. I would like to kindly share my opinion. Have you thought or discussed maybe it would be more effective to give them ways how to overcome these challenges that for sure they will have if they decide? Because if I were woman, rural areas or from city, and I see the amount of challenges, and I have family and everything, maybe I will change my mind and I will never start if I don't know that there are any solutions. Thank you.
That's a good point, but our infographic was not aimed at women entrepreneurs. On the opposite, it was aimed at the associations and social media users to gain their attention what women entrepreneurs are facing, and then for them to think, that's why we put the question, how can we help these women, right? So we want maybe financial institutions or other businesses that are more successful and have more resources to support women. Maybe they will think, oh, okay, I understand now the challenges. Maybe I can, I don't know, dedicate 10% of my annual income for the female grants or something like that, right? So that's what we think. This is not to scare the women, but this is to show men in the society and other people what women are going through.
My name is Aysimbat. I represent a team of girls from Kazakhstan and Kyrgyzstan. And we prepared a project about female entrepreneurs of Expo 2022 who participate in this event. And we made the conclusion that they want to expand their businesses and gain new skills. So let me introduce Georgia. She's a participant of this event. She's an entrepreneur, and she represents all of the women, like female participants of this event. She's about 30 years old. She has at least 2 businesses and opened business in textile and training courses like education, in education field. This was a general description of the participants of Expo. To be honest, this female, she wasn't made up. Actually, we use data to humanize it. Like, we know that behind all data we have people. So Georgia is a real person from this data. How we made her story, we analyzed and saw that most of the female entrepreneurs, participants of events, they about between 25 and 34 years old, the majority. That's how we made her age, like, learned. Also, we analyzed what skills businesswomen want to improve because, oh, sorry, we're missing one of the tables here, I don't know why. One of the tables shows that 70% of participants, they want to improve their skills, so they are here to learn. That's why we said that she wants to expand her business and learn, and this is the skills she wants to learn. It's general management and strategic planning, and this is the list of how we know that she has 2 businesses. We analyzed all the data, and it showed that most of participants, every second woman has her own business, at least 2 businesses, and this is the chart, shows that what kind of fields they owning the businesses, like clothing, fashion, retail, agriculture, training, and education. Yeah, it's here. Sorry, it's changed the line. So our title of this project, it shows that the woman, businesswomen, they want to learn and they want to expand their businesses. They're not that weak as sometimes they portrayed it in the media. So we can see that they already have some skills and they've gone through the trainings already, and now they want to learn more and expand. So it was a really brief and simple project that we planned to do, but the time was short, so this is really brief article we made. That's it.
Good evening, everyone, and thank you for your patience and time. And I was thinking how to start my presentation. And first of all, before I forget, we have very short, limited time. And I just want to thank our mentors today for their contribution and their effort making whatever we have today for you. Starting with tonight, we're not going to hear anything new because people already work on it and there was the data. But we're going to go through the history facts, sort of combining with the data was provided and slightly a design approach. As I mentioned, to go with it, I am Nick, I'm a senior graphic designer, and here is Katie, data scientist. Starting with sexism in colors. According to the history, pink was never meant to be for a woman and blue was never a man. Funny, I'm wearing blue tonight, but as history says, blue was actually meant for a woman at the beginning because it was included as a softer color and pink was a quite stronger color. But stating this, I believe that we are on the century when that certain things get outdated, and we think that gender colors are outdated and it's sexist and we can change it. We were starting thinking about those 3 days how we could change it, as it can be feeling challenging. So there is a 19th century example. It also began in 19th century, so we can tell it the by, and we can randomize it today, this evening. And we came up with those two colors, today representing genders, and also the shapes. I think I over-designed this because I was thinking that I would make loads of charts together, but it didn't really happen. But there is the case today for our presentation, and there is the very important quote that this is not something that I'm telling you that these should be the colors of man and a woman, but I'm telling you that you can come up with your own colors tomorrow. So we change and get rid of pink and blue. And in a given data, it can be difficult. The progression always seems difficult, but for example, it can be simple as that. For example, if we have given data of 3 men and 2 women, we can represent them using those shapes. And no matter what the data is, we can keep going using with the shapes. Regarding the campaign itself, we've been going in loads of ways. Thank you again. And finally, we reached the point to answer those 2 main questions. And questions for the task, this particular project was like, what are holding women back to be entrepreneurs, or if they are, what they are challenging? And another question was like, on the governmental level, public and private sectors, what should they implement to support women entrepreneurs? As a campaign, we have highlighted just some of the examples, but there is actually 16 or 17, if I'm not mistaken, and we took the campaign idea to make an individual data analysis using a powerful design methods, giving people, men and women, information regarding those problems, which is something that is proved by data. This is how the example of the campaign looks, which includes the several sections. First of all, we have UN Women, the organization who researched it. Then we have the charts united. Then we have a solution, and then we have a problem named itself. There is our sign for tonight for women. And down there we have a quote stating an actual example of a woman who is an entrepreneur about her experience. More about that, I would like to ask Katie to tell you about.
Okay, on the infographics, we can see the main and major topics about the accessing to finance. One is the source of this finance, and the second is the major problem to obtain these finances. And based on the connection of these 2 indicators, we are going through this issue to access women to start the businesses and lack of finances. On the down of infographics, you can see there are solutions which comes from the provided resources, and these solutions are to diversify credit lines for women and men, and also to improve crowdfunding information to the women and increase it. And another one is about international organizations to finance small businesses, also not to focus on the big businesses. And the final one is to have a mechanism to control these finances. Sometimes we are facing the difficulties, such as men are using women to get their finances, and they are making some fake paperwork for that. So we need to control and to have this mechanism. So go back to Nick.
Thank you. Lastly, to say, I don't want you to take this as a final product. This is a prototype, how we're going to approach these issues for every single painful matters, which is proven by data. And here comes in a blur, because it doesn't exist, we trick the visuals for different issues. And we think that those visuals should go possibly everywhere, meaning starting from social media, ending from the restaurants and cafes where the women and men dine together. So we can start a viral campaign and make people understanding the issues that existing entrepreneurs face, and lastly, for the entrepreneurs who wants to be. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you very much for the presentation. I really like especially the beginning. But my question is about the last part, where you have like 6, figures. Do you think that there is enough impact on people? Because if people see 6 figures, most probably they're not gonna retain any of them. Do you think that like here?
Over here, right?
Yes, yeah. Because isn't it better to have 1 or 2 made salient, and that will have an impact rather than having all this information on one, at least on one sheet? Thank you.
Okay, we try to show the major answers from this survey and the highlights from them. So all of these 3 are super sensitive and very important for women entrepreneurs, and to show the people who are looking to these graphics, to show them which are the major ones, top 3 sources and top 3 reasons why they have lack of finances.
To extend the answer, is that this is not actually the full chart, what was given into the data. We just highlighted those 3. So we have ability within this campaign to exclude some of those details, like it's absolutely randomly picked 3 by 3, because there was most highest numbers. So there is no issue with it. It's about the idea. Firstly, we have to go through the ideas, what we are talking about. So data can be displayed in a very short days. This is just a prototype and idea. But I understood where you come from.
Hi, I really like the design of the poster, but I have the question, or I think I didn't get why at the beginning you were talking about like pink and blue, and so you're like refusing these colors, and then you just started to use like purple and red, I think, and this is good, but why you did this? I didn't get the link between them.
Because even the data given data, even in loads of research is about feminism and generally women, UN women, states that it is usually included as sexism. This is something we want to get rid of. So
yeah, but why?
This is, first of all, it supports my presentation. It explains exactly why I'm changing the colors and why my colors is not tonight pink and blue to represent the society. So I'm offering a new alternatives to give the society opinion that it is all right to say goodbye to something really old, which is outdated and included as sexist.
Yeah, I think that was my point, that maybe pink and blue is sexist somehow or stereotypical, and this was really important to mention, like for you as the future designers. And yeah, this was my comment.
It's all, by the way, written down there. I just don't have enough time. I thought like I was rushing in time, so I cannot really read out whatever is there. Thank you.
Good evening. Today I'll be presenting a Power BI report of web assessment survey analysis created by me and my partner Ketam. First of all, I want to express my gratitude to our mentors who helped us to go through the dataset, and even though we had with the dataset like huge report and extensive research, we found out like something new, I believe, and they helped us to find this direction. So on the first table, you can see age groups provided in the dataset and years when the business were started. And here we can see that there is this trend that younger women tend to start the business in the later years. And if we do the drill down, we can see that in the last years, younger women are more inclined to start the business than it was before, because later, as you can see, there's this change. And after this, we decided to look more into the younger age group. And here, the first question is like, do you plan to make changes over the next 12 months? And as we can see, the younger group, like 24 years or less, or 25 and 39 years, are more inclined to make changes, meaning that they are braver and they are more ambitious and believe that the revenue that they are generating is not enough. Whereas, like on the later stages, women are more risk averse, which is kind of understandable. And then we can look at the social media presence, and we can see that also there the younger women are more present. And here is a Venn diagram, which also shows that women, like lots of women, don't have any presence on the internet, be it web or social media, and only 14% has their own website, and only 30% has the media page, social media, I mean. Then on the next page, we look at the number of workers that women employ, and we can see that women tend to employ more women, and this is true for all the sizes for the companies, meaning that the women encourage more women to work, and they feel more comfortable, I guess, working with them. Also, we can see on this diagram that most of the women use smartphone, while for their business, only 12% use landline, and from this 12, only 2% use only landline. And the biggest group is like only smartphones, and then the match of smartphones and portable or laptop. After this, we also thought, like, what else can we bring to this, can we get out of this data set? And we thought that the one thing that was not written in the research was forecasting, and we tried to do the forecasting for the new business entries, and we can see that like trend is upward sloping. However, last year was like downward slope, and I believe explanation here could be the pandemics. But yeah, in general, trend is good, but I believe women still need more help, and it should be even better looking. And down there is just the cumulative of the same thing, basically. And yeah, in the end, I already covered most of the takeaways, and there are some recommendations which I believe could help women to be successful entrepreneurs. And one would be, for instance, creating like new source of capital, such as crowdfunding and impact investments, or to promote positive success stories of female founders and diverse business owners through the media, conferences, and leadership movements. And one last thing is that I believe that this data set was really interesting and informative, and yeah, lots of insights were drawn, and that can be read in the research as well. However, if there was study done for the women who went out of the business, and what were the main reasons for going out of the business, and to calculate success rate, and to study the sectors in which women didn't succeed, that could help to solve future problems.
Yeah, my question was about forecasts. Basically, probably you had a scenarios, right, when you did the forecast. What is the scenario?
Exponential smoothing, basically. Sorry? Exponential smoothing.
Okay. And what about the format of this? So how I can't understand. Like, will it be like a web page, or how? What's the format of this project?
Yep, it's a web page.
Okay.
It's shared on web.
Mm-hmm. Okay, it's in Power.
Yep.
Could you please show the first page of your presentation?
You mean homepage or this one?
The homepage.
Okay, sure.
The one at the beginning. At
Yeah,
the really why did you go with such a stereotypical woman? With the high heels, very slim, you know, the way that she walks, you know?
Didn't really think much about that.
Yeah?
So as you see in our analysis, our main goal is to show you what we saw in the data for young women who are entrepreneurs, and this is why I choose this slide, because this is a young entrepreneur woman, and yeah. It perfectly resembles what we wanted to show you, because we mainly focus on young women and the interesting data that we saw for younger generation. Yeah.
But they can be in sneakers and not with a positive body approach.
True.
Yeah? Did you get my point?
Yep.
Look at the heels.
I just have a quick comment. I would like to compliment this group, which was the only one who went beyond the already made findings of the study, and they tried to find something new and find this focus on young women. I think this project would benefit, the later pages, next pages, would benefit from some, conclusive one sentence remarks over each chart to say what the main finding of each chart is. But I think it's a very interesting work in progress. So, compliments.
Thank you so much.
Now we have human rights datathon presentations that will take place.
Hello everyone, I introduced our technology. We made a website for visualization about domestic violence awareness, and you can scan this QR code if you are interested and want to interact with this website. When you open this, you may notice this message. This is our main message, so don't be afraid to ask for help if you need this. Yeah. And you can call to this number anytime, and you will get help which you need. Okay, so why do we choose this problem? We choose this problem because most of all, it is in the family where human rights are most violated, which often are mine in the family only. So it's a big problem. Our main message is to the people that you must not be afraid, as I mentioned, to ask for help if you are a victim. There are people who can help you, there are organizations, so you can ask for help. And on this website, there are statistics. These statistics are real, so we are getting this in real time from askgo.g. And if we analyze this chart, maybe I can say, what can I say? I would like to pay special attention to the fact that the victims, where is this? Just for a minute. It is 6 or 7 times more with the women that are abused more than men. So if we okay, let's say again, we should also pay attention to the fact that women are abused 6-7 times more than men. This website has two languages, Georgian and English. You can switch it to Georgian if you. Oh, it's better. You can switch Georgian if you want, but let's stay in English for international. What can I say? Maybe that the victims and the abusers are almost in the same age, if we take a look. And the peak for this problem was actually in 2020, when there also was a peak of COVID-19, and I think this had a big, this was one of the big reasons why we have these numbers just like that. And in the last time, why we have contact form. So we made contact form because maybe there are some victims who can't call on call center, or they want to ask for anonymous help, and we think that it should be here. It is just for showcase, but we can take care to make this website available on the website and work as should be, just like a place on the internet where you can really ask for help. So this was the main purpose, that why we choose other topic of human rights, why we choose how can I say? Why we choose domestic violence awareness, of course. And this was the main reason. And if you have any question about this chart, I may answer for your questions if you have any. Thanks for your time.
Thank you, Mikhail.
Thank you for your time.
Great job and collecting, analyzing all this data.
Yeah.
Yes, domestic violence is one of the main challenge for
Yeah.
Georgia. And my question is, who are the main target for this information? As I understood, you would like to reach potential victims.
Yeah, as we see, there are this range where are the most violence of victims of domestic violence. There may be a couple, so there may be a grandfathers, grandmothers.
My question is, if your target group are victims of violence, domestic violence,
Yeah.
and you would like to provide information regarding support, what is available in
Yeah.
Georgia, maybe it would be better to give information what kind of support services we have available, and also in case someone writes and someone needs psychological support, are you able?
Yeah, we
give
had
it?
lots of ideas, but we actually made this website in 3 or maybe 4 hours today. So we wanted to show more information, more data, and we will add if there would be a request from the audience, and we know that there are lots of requests from the from the people, from the victims. They are searching about the help, but this is a problem because they are afraid, and our main reason why we did that was to show them that don't be afraid, as I already mentioned. So we can add more information, we can add some more supporting ways to reach them, or they reach us, and I don't know. We really can make this website really interactive for victims. I mean, this can be place where you can come and ask for help, maybe for you, maybe for your friends or another family member. I don't know. We have lots of idea, and we will see what we can to do in the future.
Yeah, because there are a lot of information mixed. This might be important for researchers, someone who are working
Yeah, every
on
chart
this
has
topic.
yeah.
But it depends on what is your main objective and message. It can be, reorganized and change some.
Actually, all of the chart has on its own history, its own purpose, and I don't know. We really wanted to had to be the story about the importance, but we actually add lots of information, and I think now it's confusing maybe. But there maybe we can add more pages, more information, and just reorganize some of them. I don't know, as we can, as we wish. It can. How can I say? Everything is possible, so we must try. Just try.
Okay, so good evening to everyone. I'm really happy to be here. So my name is Olga Bubic, and before 2020, I had been writing extensively in Belarus, and I was living there as well. So I was writing about photography, culture, and art, but something has changed. In 2020, as you probably know, a huge wave of protests started in Belarus, and lots of people were imprisoned. Now we have around 2,000 political prisoners in my country, and lots of repressions were also started against free-thinking people involved also in the dissemination of information. So 37 of my colleagues are now in prison, and definitely I felt that it was absolutely necessary for me to change my qualification and to start writing about politics. And this is one of the main reasons why I also chose why I also chose a topic that was related to politics. My infographics is called Flower Power, and the main idea of this infographics was to debunk, first of all, some of the myths connected to the fact that in 2020 lots of international media were writing about Belarusian protesters as young girls rallying against President Lukashenko, being dressed in wedding dresses and flowers and so on. This image looked like pretty popular for like eye-catching for the mass media, but in 2020, 2022, the situation has changed for logical reasons as well, because now most media attention is paid to the situation in Ukraine and not only, and very few people really ask a question, what happened to these women in white, girls carrying flowers? And few people really ask a question, where have all the flowers gone? So I decided to address this issue and to use this opportunity also to raise the question of the topical situation in Belarus. In these infographics that I designed, you can see the checked background. It was not chosen randomly. It has its own purpose that has to with that is connected with the concept of this presentation. The point is that when you are in a Belarusian prison, so you are actually deprived of really many basic things. Bed linen, basic sanitary items, and possibility just to have paper to be able to write letters to your friends or just to anyone who addresses you. That is why anyone in 2020 who wanted to contact the prisoners in jail, so they were advised by human organizations to put a blank piece of paper. Mostly it was just checked blank papers from very simple school exercise books, and to put it into the envelope together with your actual letter that you were writing. In this way, you had a chance to get the reply. That is why I used this as a background for my presentation. So, in this presentation, as I have said, first of all, I wanted to tackle the problem of the lack of media attention to Belarusian protesters, then also address the problem which is more inner or domestic, which is the lack of data. Since in Belarus, we don't have any human rights organizations right now, everything is banned, everything is censored. We don't have any international media, we don't have any non-state independent media. So it is extremely difficult just to get the access to the data and to understand the situation in the prisons. So I analyzed the data that I managed to find on one of the sites, which is called descendants.by.com, and that data looked pretty pretty dirty, because people who like add this data, who are volunteering in this data collecting, so definitely they all come from different backgrounds and so on, and it's very difficult to systematize this data. But still, while analyzing the data, I managed to debunk some of the myths connected with the image of Belarusian protesters presented by international media in 2020. First of all, I could understand that women of all age groups were detained. It was not only about young girls in white dresses, but just like anyone, and including also women aged 50 plus. These are some of the faces of women in the sphere of human rights defendants, and Maria Kolesnikova, who is a very famous person in Belarus because she was one of the real faces of the Belarusian female revolution, and some other women who kind of got there by accident because their cases were fabricated. And as you can see, the verdicts that they received are really harsh. One of the myths that was also connected and was present in international media was related to this popular phrase, somehow in Belarus we all know about it: royal police will not arrest a young woman in white dress carrying flowers. But here, from this data set that I worked with, I managed to see different verdicts and see different sentences. As you can see, they differ pretty much, but most popular were and are still verdicts that take this form of between 2 and 3 years of imprisonment. Then I wanted to add a little bit a wider perspective. That is why I used one of the data sets connected with the worldwide information. And here we can see that Belarus now takes the 15th place on the list of countries with the largest share of women prisoners. And the first 3 places are two of them are connected with the dominance of the Chinese empire, that is Hong Kong and Macau. So we're moving in that direction. And here in this part of the infographics, I address the third objective that I have presented, that is a big problem of the lack of systematized data. And I used one of the hints that were given yesterday by Mariam was at our little introductory session, and I put this black part that shows that this is the amount of data that remains unknown about the women prisoners, and this problem really exists. And eventually, this is the message that I wanted my readers to understand, that Belarus now, despite the fact that protests evolved in the country 2 years ago, they need support, and this is a message both to the reader who can just be aware of the situation happening in Belarus, and to people who are in some way connected with mass media, and they can initiate some of the articles, so just have some of the reports, so just publish these infographics to make people aware of terrible situation with the human rights and many other sectors of economic and so on, political and definitely psychological as well, lives that people in Belarus are facing. And the last thing that I wanted to say, so the part related to these checked papers has already been explained by me, but in the infographics probably you have paid attention to the drawings that I was using. So these drawings are were not chosen by case. They belong to a Belarusian artist, Nadezhda Sayapina, who was also one of the prisoners, political prisoners, one of the first ones. In September 2020, she was arrested for taking part in a rally. That was one of the first rallies that specifically artists started. And she was detained and she stayed for 15 days in prison. And while she was there, she was drawing, because this is what artists usually do. And she was drawing, she was making some portraits of her cellmates, and when she was released, so these are some of the images that then turned into a wider project, and they somehow show the reality of Belarusian prisons and brave women who are there. Thank you.
Hello. So thank you, Olga. As Tona said, it's a very, very important topic, and thank you for raising it at our event. I have a question regarding the story. First of all, it's a well-performed story in a format of static. Do you envision transforming it into something, or this is a final product? And I'll follow up with another question regarding your last message, which was, as I remember, like make their voices heard or stories heard. So do you envision, like, because as a reader, I may not know how to do that. So maybe you have some ideas of how to tie this call to action with actual actions, or if you don't, maybe that's something to consider, because reading this story is really emotional, probably for a lot of us. And we want to engage, but with just like that action, I get a question: what can I actually do? Which is not described in your story. So maybe if you have some thoughts on that, and if not, maybe you should consider.
Thank you. Totally forgot, I had it on my list. I just wanted to say thank you very much to Foresight that for the second time has been providing me with these wonderful opportunities in the rooms for growth. I'm one of those people who use these opportunities and challenge Adobe Illustrator. Yes, concerning the answer to the first question, yes, I was, as I told you, I was really inspired by the presentation that our colleagues from Singapore made yesterday, and I wanted to really try to move into the direction of trying like scrollytelling. And I already tried just to approach a little bit some of the links that were provided by them yesterday. And if I don't manage to learn coding so fast in these couple of days, I thought that I would, this kind of material would be probably also perfect for putting them into the tilde format, because as you could see, I work both with the images, with the text, and this is something that can go well, yes, like this. And as for the second question, so I don't know yet, definitely, because it's very much, you know, like long-term something. But I also wanted to say one thing based on my year and a half of living in Georgia. You know, when I'm asked by my Belarusian friends who have chosen other countries for relocation, how are you there? What is the attitude of the Georgian people and so on? You know, I have never met in my life, and you know, I have traveled pretty much from Vladivostok to Hong Kong and America and so on. I have never met such smart taxi drivers as in Georgia, both in Batumi and in Tbilisi. And you know, the level of awareness, like political awareness and political, like international awareness of ordinary citizens who are not specialized, you know, in data collecting and so on, as in Georgia, that was something that both me and other Belarusians who, like, political immigrants moved here, that is something that everyone knows. And you know what? One thing is try to, you know, engage organizations and so on. Another thing is just like keep people informed. And this kind of information of a very basic level, for me, is like super important, because this is the level of awareness that eventually then builds up collective understanding. And I think, like, and one of actually the ideas that I did with my other infographics, that translation into Georgian, and that was one of my intentions when I moved here, when I said that I would really like to write things in Georgian for the Georgian people. So for me, probably the next step would be just translation into Georgian and feeding like the readership of the Georgians with information and like updated information about the situation in Belarus. So for me, just giving information, very basic things about like what journalist needs to do is already something important.
Okay, small comment. Thank you, Olga. I just wanted to express my personal support to those brave women who stay in Belarus and fight for rights and democracy. And I really do imagine what they are going through, and just wanted to say and express my support. Thank you so much. Thank you.
Okay. Hi, everyone. My name is Kate. I'm from Armenia.
First of all, I want to say thank you for the opportunity. In the century of active wars and escalations, we are often think about our safety. And when the topic of this datathon was released, I found out the human rights topic, and first thing that I thought about was the people who lose their lives because they live near the border. So using world data, I download this data from 2000 to 2021 about the human rights index in Armenia. And we see the decrease, this drop is about the 208 when we had like big protests against the current politicals, yes. And the conclusion of that was that 10 civilians were killed, and we see that it's like in the statistics that's the fact. But then I tried to add another layer to these statistics, which is about the escalations, which was in the previous like 6 years. And we see that, for example, in 44 days war, we had more than 50 people, civilians died, but we have no like changes in statistics. And this means that the conditions of war, in the conditions of war, people die, but it doesn't affect international like indexes. So that's it. It's like draft, and I will be happy to hear your suggestions about what can I add to this story. For sure, I will search for the statistics, because it's quite hard in our countries, as previous speaker said. Yeah, but that's all for now, and thank you.
Yes, thank you, Kate. My first question is, what kind of index do you use for your graph?
Yeah, I should check, but it was like human rights index from our World in Data website. I tried to find the methodology of that, but it was like so hard. It was a really big CSV file, which is didn't open in my computer. But the main tendencies, according to the couple of data sets, was the same.
Yeah, because my concern is that you're talking about the right to life. What happened in 2008, it was like an internal, I mean, these people were killed internally. You are talking about the free, quote-unquote, wars, and this is the result of an international conflict. So I think it's very important sort of to make sure that you're comparing the same data. And if you talk about the right to life, it's one thing. It's another thing when we talk about the general situation with human rights. I cannot see the graphs, but after Pashinyan's coming in power in 2018, the situation with human rights should have improved. And I don't see it on your graph.
It's like from okay, yeah, but it didn't at all. Yes, it not improved via statistics.
Okay, well, I think that it's important to compare comparable sets of data if you want like to really to show the actual situation when it comes to human rights.
Yeah,
Thank you.
This is important question, and we didn't have like much time today to really deep in methodology, statistics, indexes, and the problem was that, for example, statistics about Armenia ends at, for example, 2017, and it were not a lot of like from where I can choose.
I agree that I think you need to be consistent with bringing facts and kind of comparing the same things, but also if that kind of at this moment error will be eradicated in the future, what do you think? Is this like one fact that you view as a product, or will you think it's like a theory of couple of facts about human rights, or this is kind of your vision, this is one topic, one aspect you want to concentrate this project on?
No, I want to add, for example, for me is I thought about adding Azerbaijan in these statistics, because these escalations about both countries and people dying everywhere, so it can be interesting to compare with the situation in the other side. And of course to go deep in the like methodology, because for me it's not completely clear how this human rights index what it contain in for example level of corruption or level of freedom, etc. So I need time to like deep in this topic. So.
My name is Kate, and I came from Kazakhstan. I just want to say sorry for my possible mistakes. I still learn English. And my topic name like different but equal. In Russian language, it's word like looks like this, and it's different just in one letter. So that's why I decided to write it like it. And I'm very happy to be here at this conference, and I want to say that just 1 year ago I couldn't do something in Illustrator or with data, so I think thank you for that, thank you for education, and I think that every one of us who is here understands how education is important in our lives. So that's why I decided to tell you a story about children with disabilities in Kazakhstan. And I saw that a lot of children in Kazakhstan, they have problems because they haven't opportunities to go to schools or to go to universities and have special education, so they are just at home and have the best way if they have teachers, but more of them don't have teachers at all. So number of people with disabilities in the field of education is growing every year, and that's good that a lot of people have opportunity to have education in our country, in Kazakhstan. However, the portion of children enrolled in inclusion education remains small, and in the region context it's look like this. You can see that no one region in our country have 1,000% children who have education in their area. So that's a big problem. And only half of the schools in Kazakhstan have the opportunity to teach children with disabilities. And there is, one second, my graphs that 35% of children, they need to have inclusion education, but just 25% of it they have. And only 43% of schools in our country we have inclusion education, special classes. So I just ask why it's such situation, and there is some reasons. We have lack of especially trained teaching staff, and there is lack of technical equipment and physical access barrier. And I think that the big problem is misunderstanding of part of society, which we have. So all this leads to the fact that a few children with disabilities enter universities, and that's fingers which I have that less than 1% of people with disabilities study at University of the Republic of Kazakhstan. And we need to ask each other, so if we will have not education, what we can do? And how this problem is important in our countries. I don't know how it's in other countries, but in Kazakhstan I see that it's really big problem. And it means that the future, most of these persons with disabilities, they have problems with socialization, with adapt to society and get a decent salary, and of course to take part in such conference like this. But all it starts from schools. And that's my project, and the main question is, does this mean that we live in an equal world? Yeah, thank you.
Thank you, Kate, for this interesting presentation. First of all, I think if you have just started learning English, your English is outstanding, so really believe in yourself. I think that the data you're showing are very, very interesting, and my advice is probably, if you have the chance, to continue to work on this project. And I guess that the biggest problem in Kazakhstan, like in many countries in this part of the world, is actually the social stigma. Of course, they're the policy of the state that do not pay sufficient attention to that. But where we can really make a difference is to quote unquote educate people. So I would rather use this data to work on the stigma part and to make people aware of the fact that if someone is different physically, mentally, or psychologically, it doesn't mean that it's a different person. But congratulations on the project.
Thank you, thank you.
Okay, hello. So I know everyone is very tired, so I'll be in 4 minutes, and I will be more energetic, hopefully. Our main thing is that the psychological abuse is the most common type of domestic violence in Georgia. So while preparing the topic, we were analyzing different types of data. We came across the domestic violence data from Ask.Goji. After analysis of this topic, we came that we grouped the different types of domestic violence. As you see, the top 6 groups. It's physical, economical, sexual, forced, neglect, and others. You can see that from analysis of this data, the blue charts are for psychological one, and it's obvious that it is very important, and it is the most common type. So that's why we came with this this decision that the psychological abuse is very important, and we tried to raise awareness on this topic. It is even more obvious from this chart that even if we sum up all the other types of domestic violences, the psychological violence is number 1, and the cases of psychological violence, at least in Georgia, is even more than sum up of all the other types and cases, like in forced violence, sexual, economical, and others. And that's why it's very important to raise awareness on this topic. And our idea was that even it's very obvious that there are some kinds of different types of domestic violences, and people are a little more or less aware about all the types. It's very important to let people know that they are possibly in the early stages of some kind of abuse. And we tried, and our idea was to make some kind of quiz that helps people determine if they are victims of psychological abuse. The idea of the quiz is that there are some questions about if you apply to this type of abuse, and possible answers, also some kind of examples. With filling this quiz, you can find out yourself as a victim of psychological abuse, and raise awareness about like you have this problem or not. The quiz and the design and platform is not done because it's like for this event, but we are trying to fulfill it and make it functional. And in the end of the quiz, we try to like help people take action about this problem. And for example, people don't know that there are some hotlines that they will be helped with. It's 112, or there are some dedicated different hotlines. And hopefully after creating this kind of quiz and giving them information that they can stand for themselves in case against this problem, will help people, and the cases of this abuse will be less and less. And the main thing is that we try to help people to detect their problem on very early stages. Because if they don't take action on the very early stages, or they don't know that they are like victims of abuse, later it will be even bigger problem. And this happens in this case, like after analyzing this data, it's really, really big problem. So.
Thank you. We have some time for questions.
Clarify. So your product is a quiz, right? To figure out if a person is subject to psychological abuse, right?
Yes, to raise awareness, because people think that it's okay if someone calls them like you are fat or you are, I don't know, So the quiz itself and the questions of the quiz is quite specific, and it should be done like I'm developer, I cannot have good questions, and maybe my questions can be harmful, but it should be done with the help of psychologist. The psychologist knows even better how to make up these questions to help people detect that they are really victims on early stages.
And one last thing, you started off with data, which is like really interesting in terms of how it prevails the other violences. So will you incorporate this somehow in the quiz, or was this just for the purpose of presentation, why you chose it? If not, I would really suggest kind of tie it somehow with the quiz, because it's really, even for me seeing it, it was really interesting spikes in the data.
Good point. So actually we are trying to implement this quiz in several different platforms. It's Facebook or dedicated web page, or there are some pages that already have quizzes. You just have to provide them data. But in the end, like you can, in the result, you can tell them, you are some kind of victim of this one. And here's the statistics that you are not only one, and there are a lot of cases in your country, and you just can call police or call the hotline, and it's very common thing, and people call to this hotline. This will encourage them to call that.
If I may. First of all, congratulations on the idea, because usually, especially in this part of the world, when we talk about domestic violence, people only think about physical abuse, and psychological abuse is much more subtle and much more difficult to detect. So my question is about the data. Where do you get the data you present in your quiz?
Yeah, so it's Ask Goji, the web page that provides the data if you request it. We took it from there, grouped the cases by years, and then some in total. And yeah, you are right. It was a surprise also for us that psychological abuse is the most important, is the most has most cases. And we didn't know it. After analyzing this data, we found out. Yeah, we were surprised.
And I think it's also very important to mention that these are reported cases, because the actual cases are the number is much higher. So for people to understand that it's not actually the real the real picture. And I think the fact that you have examples of what psychological abuse constitutes, it's very important for the quiz, because in many cases people are not aware that actually they're being psychologically abused.
Exactly, yeah. Unfortunately, real cases are much higher, but proportionally, I think that if everyone calls the police, I think the situation will be like almost the same. Proportionally, psychological abuse will be like higher, with higher numbers.
Hello, everyone. So finally, today we have a story day, and I would like to tell you about my recent experience. When I came here at Hackathon, I sat down, and the first thing I did was I tried to find the data set that I really liked. And I found this data set, which was about number of restraining orders issued in Georgia during 2021 year period. And when I opened this data set, okay, I saw the numbers and all the statistics broken down, and I sat down and I started just playing with it. And first thing I did was calculated the number of total family domestic violence in Georgia. And this number was 8,338. And okay, at the first glance, this number was just a number, right? But on a second thought, I realized that there are actually thousands of individuals behind this number who probably have experienced one of the worst feelings a human can experience in their lifetime. So I stopped everything, and I thought, how can I turn this experience that I had right now into a story? And basically the story was that I wanted to visualize how big this number was, and another thing was that behind this number was an individual having a life as vivid and full as ours. And I made this website that you can actually visit this right now. So what is going on here? I decided to pick 8,338 circles, and each circle would represent a person that has experienced domestic violence in 2028 year. And here you see these circles. Okay, but why are they only 3, you may ask? That's because it's zoomed right now, and now I want all of you to kind of imagine how big this number is, because human mind is really not good at imagining large numbers. So what I will do now, I will start and I will zoom out from this picture, from this picture, And you can just remember that each of these circle is an individual representing an individual. Okay, and then see if you can guess when we are reaching the number. Okay, I hovered it, and let's take this is a real individual, and then we go up from here. We go up. Okay. So what do you think? Are we getting close? Any guesses? Not yet, okay. Not yet, not yet, not yet. Here we are. So here each pixel here basically represents a person, and the whole picture represents the number itself. Thank you.
Good evening, everyone, again. And thank you very much to all participants. And thank you very much to all mentors, everyone, and jury for being here, working so hard. I'm really nervous because it was really difficult for us to choose the winners. But we come up the final winners, and I want to again, I want to repeat that all team members were great, and we really appreciate your work. We really appreciate your effort, and yeah, but still we have to do best. Again, I'm really nervous. So first is and okay, before I announce, just want to mention again and again what was the idea and the goal for our datathon. Women's Entrepreneurship Development Assessment is quite broad, representative research UN Women and ILOG jointly developed, and it's crucially important to convey these results, findings, and the recommendations to all stakeholder players. So one of the idea and the goal for us to partner with Datafest was to create these communication materials that would be very, very effective. So we think that first person who managed and conveyed this idea was project with Nika Borashvili and her partner. Nika Borashvili and Katie Nozadze. Congratulations.
Thank you. Should I go with mom and dad? Thanks everyone for your attention, time, your effort, everyone, and to this festival, to you and Women. It was a great pleasure being here for 3 full days. Thank you.
Okay.
So it's not only like UN Women's Prize that you get, but also you get our partners from Qatari Foundation had to leave, but they asked me to give you a special certificate. Your ideas are very close to one step ahead, like this, like the concept that can be how to say, like protected with the intellectual property services, and they are offering you the certificate which will allow you to protect your IP, and here is the certificate for your team. And also a special prize from Datafest Tbilisi. It's a hoodie and a book by Neil. Yes, I will give you one. You can share. And a book by Neil, who was our speaker and who talked about the effective visualization. So good luck with your project.
Thank you.
Thank you again. So and another data we had was about Women's Entrepreneurship Expo. That was a regional event, and again we wanted to also the part of the expo was to identify the needs and challenges for what women entrepreneurs were facing in Europe and Central Asia. And this was just data set. We wanted some analysis. Obviously, time was limited and it's very difficult to analyze and also visualize the findings. This is kind of raw product, but we think that Müller-Chengelia has this potential to finalize the product. Congratulations, Millard, and we hope that we will work together to complete the product.
Thank you very much. I appreciate your effort. Yeah, sure. Thank you one more time.
Thank you very much. Oh, it was really stressing.
Well, it's already late, and first of all, thank you for being here today. Thank you so much to Forset. It was really a great event for my organization, also personally for me and for my colleagues who were here. We had really great fun, so well done. Please keep up with the great work, because we really need this kind of organizations in Georgia and beyond. I would like, first of all, to, as the representative of the Council of Europe in Georgia, to say that the presentation by Olga Bubic, we're really supporting it, because what she's doing and her colleagues, it's amazing. It's very important for the Council of Europe. So continue this great work, and I think there will be some other surprises for you. As to the prizes that we would like to extend today as Council of Europe office in Georgia, the first one goes to Nika Nasrashvili. So, we really liked your product because it is simple, short, and it's very well targeted. So congratulations, Nika. And the other prize goes to the team of Eka Tabliashvili. Because, as I said in my comments, psychological abuse is really oftentimes overlooked. It is something that our organization is trying to pay a lot of attention here in Georgia. So it's great to have you. So congratulations. Congrats. Yeah.
Thank you.
Hi again, I'm Mariam. I'm a co-founder of Forset, and I'm here to announce Forset team's winner in the framework of our Data Communication Fellowship program. Thank you for all the teams that submitted for Human Rights Hackers Datathon, sorry. But we, as a team and as a program, would really like to support Olga Bubic and make those women's voices heard. So Olga, please join us. Yeah, this is for Olga. Thank you, Olga.
Sahamam Shpedovs. Mevar Olga Bubic. Mevar Batulmidan. This is what I usually say when I join the taxi. And after that, I start speaking about Belarus. Next time, I will start speaking about Forset as well. So I have already expressed my deepest gratitude to a wonderful team of my mentors, Aizada and Marian, and without you, I wouldn't love Georgia as much as I do now. Thank you very much. Good luck with your work, and please keep on doing what you're doing, and keep giving all of us so many opportunities for growth. And well, as they usually say, just to make this world a better place. That's it. Did you, Madlova?